quite quickly, shall we say. So I just wanted to kind of jump on and just say, you know, really quite positive considering all the, you know, the circumstance that we're all in. So yeah.
That's great, Katie. Thanks. So much positivity in this call today. It's nice.
I think
Um,
we need it, don't we, really? You know?
yeah. No, it's really good. And it's great to hear, 'cause obviously what's really important at the moment now that everything's online is to have even more communication because you can't actually see the people. So it's great that you've been, communicating with the lecturers and the tutors to resolve all of these issues, and clearly it's worked. So that's really good to hear. Yeah.
Hats off, absolutely hats off to, you know, the module leads and the program lead as well. And you know, and I think just taking a collaborative approach to it has really helped because it needs to be more than one voice that they hear it from. So it'll be quite interesting to see how things transpire when leading up to placements, you know, and what issues may arise, if any, come March if they get pushed back. So you know, it's very much a watch this space with regards to that. I'm also a Royal College of Nursing student ambassador as well, so I'm kind of linking the support that's available through them as well as the support that's available with the university, especially regarding placements. You know, and upcoming placements. It'll be, like I said, it's watch this space, isn't it, really, and see what transpires there. So yeah, I'll stop waffling now and let someone else talk.
No, that's great. Thanks for your comments.
Thank you.
So I think I'm going to be the one that brings in the negativity now.
Someone had to do it. Don't worry about it. If it wasn't you, it would have been someone else.
So I am on the fourth year applied microbiology course, though what I'm about to say applies for pretty much the whole life science suite, I believe, because it is a module that we all have in common in fourth year. So the professional practice module, I've heard from the majority of the people on my course and a couple of people through the other reps in fourth year that one of the components for the module is 50%, and it's due, I believe, in a fortnight. But we've only just been given the information on it, like this, not the assessment brief, but what they expect of us. Just a couple of days ago, and I think people are getting a bit stressed about that because all our other assessments that are due in fourth year, we got told what was expected of us in week one, basically, and being 50% of the module, people are now frantically trying to organise everything because we had no idea what it was we were doing. So essentially, what it is they are supposed to give us job descriptions, or like a role, like a job role, and then we've got to make and tailor a CV and covering letter to that job description. So we have just been kind of given all the information about what they expect in a CV and all that sort of stuff last week, but we've still not actually been given the job roles that we need to be like applying this to, and it is due very soon, and it's 50% of the module. So I feel like on the whole, there's not really much they can do about it now because even if they give us it now, it's still a bit late. But I think as a whole, everybody just kind of wants for future years to sit it that they completely lay out the ground rules and say this is what we expect of you. This is what this assessment actually is, because they did tell us you'll be doing a CV and a covering letter, but that was it. And we didn't hear anything else about it because they completely focused on the other, sorry, on the other 50% of the module. So yeah, that's really all I have though. Everybody seems to be kind of just plodding along and getting on with it because there's not really else we can do right now.
Yeah.
So yeah.
For what you're saying though, have you tried asking? Because obviously this is something that you can raise for it not to happen again.
Yeah.
Have you tried asking for an extension for everyone? Has that been done as well?
I haven't. No. That's definitely. I'll put that down now. Actually.
And you've got a case for it because like everyone's in the same boat in the sense that everyone's been told about it late. And I know with another rep, because this is something that actually happened to me as well, is that when we were in fourth year, everyone had gotten their dissertation supervisors at a specific date, and everyone on another program had got them a week late. So then those reps just asked, can we get a 1 week extension on our dissertation since we got our supervisor 1 week late? And it did work. They did agree on that. So you probably should be fine asking for it, especially at the moment with the current circumstances that we're in. They're probably going to be a bit more flexible with that too. So I don't think they would just sort of say no.
No,
you might have to fight for it a little bit, but it's worth trying. Yeah.
Perfect.
Lewis, I don't think you should feel bad about the one I was literally just about to bring bad news as well, so don't feel bad. So hi everyone, I'm Laura. I am a first year Masters in Midwifery student. So I'm representing the Masters group for now. The other rep couldn't make it. So I think as a whole, yes, we are all understanding of the predicament we're in. I mean, we're not blind to the fact that we are in a pandemic. And I think on a positive note, the social grounds, we've all kind of come together. We've had virtual pub quizzes and pub drinks, and we've got a virtual Secret Santa going on. We've got a virtual Christmas party organized, which I'm organizing with some of the girls. But I think I've got a small list of stuff, which unfortunately is bordering on the negative, because I think as a master's group, yes, we have the privilege of having done degrees before. So I feel really sorry for the bachelor's group, because they're stepping into this and they're completely unbeknownst, really. However, I think because of that, a lot of the lecturers or our course leaders feel that we should fend for ourselves in that. And at the end of the day, we are still first years, and that's not necessarily taken into consideration. So I think the biggest thing that came out is that the timetables on Moodle is not updated and is not correct. The fact that there are so many different platforms that we have to be competent in to know where to find things, we're left to our own devices to hunt down for information. And a lot of the videos that are put on, they're only available for a limited time. So if someone goes away or they have to attend to children, which a lot of our course programs are, they can't access anything past 18 days. So now we're doing exam prep, we have to rely on scribbled notes where we can. So I think that's quite a big issue. And I think that there's very little information as to how our course is going to be marked, and how it's going to be weighted, and any information. And it's something we have brought up, but again, we still haven't had any resolution to it. So I think that's really difficult for us when we're stabbing in the dark as to what to expect from us. We've had some assessments which we've gone through, and we've voiced that had we had the final assessment right in the beginning, we would have had these miniature assessments that would have actually pushed us in the right direction. And so it's very confusing. It's not very streamlined. And we kind of we have no idea where we sit on the course. We have no idea where we sit academically because there's no information. And some of the lecturers are really fantastic, and they are really trying to do the best they can. They've had good responses and giving us additional feedback and additional tutorials to try and help that. Our PDTs only really met with us last week and this week, and to be honest, it felt a bit redundant, because it's stuff that we were trying to bring up weeks ago, and was only because we're first years, kind of felt like second fiddle, as opposed to the second years or the third years. And whilst we understand that, yes, they are further in their course, the voice that comes from our group as well, I was hoping there would be a little bit more grace as to we are learning everything online. One final thing, and then I promise I'll stop being a negative Nancy, but we are also going into placements, and we have simulation skills days that are supposed to make up half of our course, and we can't get to them. And if half of our degree is based on our practicals and we're not getting into simulations and skills, I think the general consensus is that we are just lacking confidence on actually operating midwifery on a human being and not having had any practical training. and having that practical training almost taken away from us and pushed back, having zero information about placements, even though it was promised to us weeks ago, have zero information about whether to collect our uniforms or, and we were told we could collect those in October. So benchmarks have been moved, and that's really frustrating for us when we have to try and organize our lives. And when we're told that we were expected to be at the ready and then not told any information until 2 weeks before. And even then, it's not really given to us fully. So we have voiced a couple of these concerns, but I think in general, it is just really disappointing because a lot of planning needs to be involved. Much of my colleagues are single moms or moms in general that have to coordinate not their lives, but their families' lives. And there's very little support from the university on how to do that. And I think also just hearing that our placements can be cancelled, our second semester already has been converted online, and then many of us are paying $9,500 to be here. It's just really disappointing because it's like, surely the university at this point should at least voice some sort of concession with that, considering that we are spending so much time to not be socially involved, to not get the information we need, to not actually be accessing the services we're paying for. It is really frustrating, but I think that's my list from my group.
No, but that's very pertinent. Thanks. And I wanted to say also there's been a program rep for one of the nursing programs that has raised something similar as well, saying, we are paying very expensive fees and all that. They're not necessarily reimbursed by SAS. It's a different provider, and the university is just not being very flexible about it. That's definitely something that I can look into as well and see if there's something that I can, if I can talk to the university about, because some of what you're raising is quite specific to what you're studying as well.
Yeah.
And also just for the marking, there should be a rubric that explains how things are marked. That's just a requirement. So
yeah, I think there's some things on like a student handbook, but then it's kind of like, this is access for like, you should be having 3 lectures a week and 10 hours of independent learning, and that's split between your practical and your theory. I'm like, that's not been implemented. Like, no ways. Again, it's also like, if we pay $9,500 to go into a simulation skills test, and we have one day this semester we'll be going in, and I'm like, $9,500 for who? Like, I understand that some money needs to be paid, especially because we're coming through, but it's just, I wish there would be something more forthcoming from the university as to like, okay, cool, here is a discount on the fact that you are studying from home and not accessing the materials you're actually paying for. I think it was a big issue for a lot of the people. But yeah, thanks. That's all.
Yeah, thank you. Definitely. And this has all been noted, and then we'll take all of this away and see what we can do about it. So
thanks.
Don't worry about that. But yeah, I think we'll just move on to the facilities issues now. If anyone has not wanted to raise academic issues and has not hadn't time to do it, you can just email me afterwards or send me a message, and that's absolutely fine. So yeah, I'll just read that Katie's also said the lack of physical simulation skills has been an issue with us too. The tutors provided many reassurances that clinical supervisors will be very understanding on our first placements in March, and we have been provided with more theory than previous first years to mitigate this. Okay, that's good. So clearly they're trying to find some solutions. Obviously, it is difficult to replace the actual practical placements with theory, but it's good that they're trying to work around it. So yeah, Alistair, is it okay if you can just pass to the next slide? Thank you. So yeah, now just moving on from academic issues, if you'd like to raise anything that has to do with the campus facilities, if you are going on campus, anything to do with study spaces, the libraries, or with the virtual learning environment. So anything to do with Moodle doesn't work, or any specific IT issues, or if you need to use any labs or any studio spaces and how that's going. So yeah, over to you.
So this is probably something that they already know, but I feel like they maybe thought people would cope with it better than they did. But we had a lecture about 2 or 3 days ago, and it was very, very heavily lab-based. Like the theory behind it was very heavily lab-based, and nobody understood what happened. We came out of the lecture and we've got a little Facebook group chat, and we were in it for about an hour and a half, just trying to decipher everything that he'd said, because it's very, like, like it's very theoretical, and you can't just listen to it and understand it. No matter how amazing at biology you are, it's just stuff that you need to see it happen. You need to do it yourself to actually understand all the processes behind it. And I mean, it must be difficult for the teaching staff as well, trying to figure out a way to teach it, because they'll have been doing it all these years with the labs, and now they're having to do it without them. But I feel like we're all just kind of getting the vibe from the university that we're accepting it, and we are accepting. Of course, we're accepting it because there's nothing we can do. But we think the university believes we're dealing with it better than we are, because it's not a case of, it's been a couple of months and we've not had labs and we're used to it, because we're not. Like 2 or 3 days ago, we had our last lecture of the semester, and we have a 3,500 word essay to write on that lecture. We have no idea what happens. Absolutely no idea. And that's 50% of that module as well, is this 3,500 word essay, and we have no idea what to write it on, what to do, and it's all just very, very confusing, because we've not been able to actually do it and get the results ourselves and see. Even if you do it in a lab and you make a mistake, then that's another teaching and learning point, because you understand, well, if this happens and you make this mistake, then this is going to be the result of that as well. Obviously, the teaching staff can't go through every single mistake you can possibly make, so it's quite artificial and quite unnatural, and it's very textbook, and it's almost like we could open a textbook and we could just read it ourselves. And that's not on the teaching staff, because there's not really much they can do. It's more just, I think the university needs to appreciate more that it is significantly more difficult for us than they're making it out to be, I think, is the issue here.
Yeah, hopefully they will understand that, and they'll maybe be a bit more relaxed in their marking, not be too strict with it as well. I don't know if this would help or not, but if you asked maybe the lecturer from that class, if they could provide any drop-in sessions or something for students that have more questions about the essay or anything. Don't know if that would be useful or not, but
I emailed him yesterday, and he got back to me straight away. Basically said that if there's anybody in the class that has any questions, then he can email and we can set up a drop-in session on WebEx or something. But I feel it's just, I think this just brings in all the online stuff and really puts it into perspective, because it's not a case of, the next lecture that we have, just 5 minutes before it will just answer questions and everybody gets to hear it. And then obviously it will be difficult for him as well, because then he's having to take time out of his teaching week and all his responsibilities. So yeah, I think it just really puts the online stuff into perspective, and that we can't just walk into his office and go, "Hi, I've got a question." It needs to be all organised, and then by that point it's, we've already started the assessment and it's too late, and yeah.
Yeah, no, thanks for bringing that up, and hopefully, it does get better, next semester, either because you're more used to it or because the lecturers have adapted better to it as well. So, yeah, but I've noted that, and we'll see if there's anything we can do about it as well. So yeah, if anyone else has anything else they'd like to raise.
Hi, yeah, I'll jump on again, Katie again. So it's just from what you were saying, Lewis, about I don't know how transferable this would be, but for nursing, we, like I mentioned, had issues around the lack of simulation time. And stuff like taking blood pressure is one of those things where, you have to do that. You have to hands-on do that, as exactly like you said, to learn, what works, what doesn't work, And when you really think, oh, taking blood pressure will be easy, it's not. It could take up to a year to learn how to do that. So what we put forward to our tutors was, can you provide us, instead of these massive workbooks that take hours and hours and hours of reading and my eyes are square at the end of it, would it be possible for you to maybe do some videos, so I can watch a video of the tutors, the people that are in the simulation skills, or maybe in your case, the lab, where they actually, set up a video, maybe do, an experiment, or forgive my understanding, of your course. But I just thought, maybe that's an idea that you could kind of suggest to them is, could you show us a how-to video, You know, there's a plethora of information on YouTube. You know, we live in the digital age, but when you actually see the lecturers or the staff doing it themselves, you know, I think that like makes a massive difference, because you're like, okay, that reassures me. You know, that also makes your face known to me as well, that you are a member of staff and I know what is expected of you. So I just thought I'd jump in and put that across as, you know, as an idea that you could perhaps put forward, because again, first year adult nurses, you know, that they actually started doing that, which was great, because it broke up a lot of the theory work for us, and it was a procedural thing. So I don't know, I just thought I'd jump on, that might help. Yeah.
No, thanks.
That's brilliant. Thank you. I've noted that down on my phone as well, so I'll email the programme leader tomorrow about that. Thank you very much.
But yeah, thanks, Katie. And I think it also shows, you know, that people, like different people learn in different ways. So someone who will memorize things really well by reading it won't be the same as someone watching a video. And I know that I need to watch videos to be able to learn stuff. So I think that's a really good idea. And hopefully, you know, the lecturers have time to be able to do that. So surely they are quite keen to try.
Yeah, because this is the thing, it's the simulation skills staff. So of course they're used to being in, you know, a lot more regularly, seeing 600 plus students, plus midwifery, plus, you know, mental health as well, as I'm sure. You know, so they've obviously, they do have more time, you know, in comparison to, say, a program lead, you know, which you know, they're obviously going to be a lot busier. But I just thought it was a really good suggestion, and I know that helped a lot, because you know, some students, as you say, you know, do learn in different ways. But when you're reading for hours and hours and hours, and it's on the laptop all the time, and you know, something that we're being taught is about well-being, you know, and when you're online all the time, you know, it's just nice to see something that just mixes it up a bit. So I don't know how appropriate that might be for your course, Lewis, but I just thought, you know, that's a suggestion that I put forward, you know, and they've listened to that. So all right.
Perfect, thank you.
I think if I could just bring up a very practical note, I think if we can able to change how the resource booking systems are with the library, at the moment we can only book 3 hour slots a day, which I completely understand. You can't just block out a space for the whole day. Like, I don't think that's fair. But I think being able to book more than just 3 hour slots, because if you go in from lunchtime until nighttime, you have to just book 2 and then hope and pray that no one like books anything else. So I think that is quite restrictive. And I think that what to make it fair is that if you are not at your spot within 10 minutes, then your slot's lost. So that it avoids people just booking up and not showing up. But at the moment, it's quite restrictive. If the library is your only source of safe place to learn, and you only have like 6 hours a day that you can learn it from, and you want to spend 10, then that's just impractically speaking, if that could be brought up.
Yeah, no, definitely we can ask the university to see what they can do with that. I know at least what is a good improvement is that before it was only 1 3 hour slot that you could book, and now at least it's 6 hours, which is a big difference. But I know what you mean, that, you know, it's not fair if there are students that are booking slots and then not showing up, and because that's a space that's taken away from someone else. So I think just sort of reinforcing the message, you know, if you book, you need to show up. And because I know there's also been some issues of students not booking either, and just taking up the space of someone who had booked, and all this confusion.
It's awkward after you have to shoot them out. Or find something else. You're like, no, well, actually I have booked the pod and I would love to have secluded learning, or whatever the case is. But yeah, I think definitely to make it fair is just be like, if you don't show up, it will be given to someone else within 10-15 minutes. And that's kind of your own problem. But I think just restrictiveness on it is quite hard to sit down and finish off. So thanks.
Great, thank you. Okay, sounds like no one else has got any issues, which is good to hear. I see there's something in the chat as well, which is fine. We'll take note of that too, and just make sure that it's been recorded in the notes. And yeah, so I'll just move on quickly to just give you a little update about what's coming up, and then after that we'll be done. So something that's coming up next Thursday is our student council. So the student council is basically very similar to the rep forums, but it's for every student at the university to join, and just to bring their opinion, their comments, any issues that they're experiencing on a sort of university-wide level. That's where you would go and talk about any concerns that you have or anything you want to discuss. So you're all welcome. And as well, if you can promote this with your classmates, that would be amazing. The event is up on Facebook, so you can just share that link. It's up on the ENSA Facebook page. I've also shared it on the rep Facebook group normally. And this student council that we're having is a bit different because we're also going to talk about the referendum that we're wanting to pass at ENSA. This is really important because it's been a couple of years where we've been wanting to change our constitution, because ENSA is a charity, so we've got a constitution that basically tells us how we need to run, how we need to do things. It's kind of a guide, and we need to sort of follow the rules that are in that constitution. But we're wanting to change a few things in it. Nothing too big, but things, for example, at the moment we have one president and two vice presidents at ENSA. So I'm one of the vice presidents, and we're wanting to change that to have 3 co-equal presidents, and the names in the title would change a bit as well. So it would vary, like what we do and what we're responsible for would change a bit too. And those are the kind of changes we're wanting to make. But we aren't allowed to change the constitution unless we run a referendum with the students, and we need at least 10% of all Napier students to vote at that referendum. So 10% doesn't sound like a lot, but it is quite a lot when you think of the amount of students that are in the uni. So that's why, like, we really need the reps on our side to sort of help push this as well, and sort of encourage students to vote at this, explain why it's important. And yeah, I won't give you too much information right now because it's not about this, but if you can come to the student council, you'll find out a bit more about all that. So we'll be talking about the referendum from 5 to 6, and then from 6 to 7, it'll just be the student council, so you can raise any issues that you have. And then after that, so you might have already seen this. So we've created a little COVID-19 survey to just ask students how they're feeling and what they would like us to do to sort of improve their student experience as well. So the reason that we're sharing this survey is to make sure that we can support the students as best as possible. Because we are the Students' Association, we are here to support you. But obviously, because these are very strange times, we want to sort of make sure that we can support you in the right ways and create engaging content in the right way as well, and actually do things that are meaningful. So I don't know if you've already completed the survey, but if you haven't, then definitely if you could do it, that would be great. And if you can share the link with your classmates, that would also be amazing, because the more people reply to the survey, the more information we get, and the better it is for us to be able to support you. So yeah, the link is just there on the slide. Yeah, and then, as I said before, if you've not been able or have not had time or forgot to raise an issue at this forum, or if it affects a wider group than just your program, or something that wasn't relevant to this rep forum, for example, just remember that you can contact me or Nikhil or Ankit. You can email us, or you can send us a message on Facebook as well, and we'll make sure to think about your issue and see how we can support you, how we can try and resolve this together as well. So feel free to email me or any of the other sabbatical officers about anything. Yeah, and that's it from my side. I just want to say thank you so much for attending. It's great. We've had quite a lot of people here. I think this is the rep forum with the most attendees that we've had this week. So that's really nice. And yeah, it seems that you're all really engaged. You're all doing a really good work. So yeah, well done. And I know these are difficult times to be a rep as well. It's not that easy to reach the students because everything is just, online. And how do I find out who the students on my course are? And it's not that obvious. But yeah, and just to let you know that everything that we've spoken about has been taken note of. So we're going to have a meeting with the ENSA team on Monday to just go through all the issues that everyone has spoken about. We're going to take actions and see, how we could resolve them and who we can speak to try and sort of take these issues forward and do something about it. So what I'll do is I'll keep you updated on how that goes on the Red Facebook group. And if you have any other questions or any other issues or anything, just you can email me. And yeah, and then this has been recorded as well. And I'll be putting it up on YouTube at some point at the end of the week. So also I realized, and I'm sorry, I forgot to start the recording on time. So a little bit of it has been cut off. I am sorry. I keep forgetting to record things. But yeah.
So
Yeah.
I just wanted to try and prod forward the thing about gender neutral toilets and make sure that got put onto the agenda as well.
Yeah, definitely.
My pet project, just keep pushing it.
Yeah,
no, that's
it's on
fine.
there. I've got that down.
No, great. Thank you. This is something that's coming up from not just from you, but from other people as well. And that we are raising at different meetings. What is a bit frustrating is this was actually on the agenda of a big university meeting that we had recently, but it was right at the bottom of the agenda, and the meeting just ran over so long that we didn't have time to speak about it, which was very frustrating because I know this is something that's been going on for a long time. But I have planned to raise it at the next meeting that we have next week. So hopefully that's something that we can make a move on. And also if you're available to attend the student council, that's something that you could raise there too.
Yeah, no, I'll come and prod it a bit further there then as well.
Perfect. You can be the first person. You can just be like, I have an issue. Perfect.
Thank you.
But great, thank you. Okay, well, if that's it, then just, yeah, have a nice evening, everyone. And yeah, thanks for coming.
Thank you.